into February, and with that being said, 2 episodes a week right now. I am trying out 2 episodes a week on the Power Transformation podcast. I am your host, Alethea Felton, and I'd like to welcome you to the show. For those of you who are new, I am so happy that you have graced this platform with your presence. I am so honored to have you, and you are a part of a transformational, pivotal movement that is happening. And it is because of listeners like you that it is possible. And furthermore, for those of you who have been with me since early on and from the beginning, I thank you and I'm grateful for you. But this podcast typically launches every Wednesday, but I'm trying something for February and also possibly into March, where I am dropping 2 episodes a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Why? This show is in high demand, and I am grateful for that. I have guests who want to be on the show, interviews that are completed and need to be launched, and I'm trying something new because it's 2025 and a new year. And with that being said, the newness in our guest today is unbelievable. Staff Sergeant Anthony Cutno is an entrepreneur. He is a retired military serviceman who was honorably discharged. He will share more about that, but he served faithfully in the United States Marine Corps. And he is just an incredible human being with a story to share. And so I don't want to take more time away from him. Let's jump right into this interview. And we begin here on the Power Transformation podcast, where I share an affirmation so that we are speaking those things into existence. So I will say the affirmation once and you repeat it. I am a radiant light filled with purpose and boundless worth, making a meaningful difference in the world. I am so happy to have Staff Sergeant Anthony Cutno here on the Power Transformation podcast. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm really excited to have you here. And Anthony and I met each other through an amazing entrepreneurial group that we're both in. And I've met so many incredible people in that network, including him. And y'all, when I tell you, he has a story of transformation that will absolutely blow your mind in such a great way and give hope to people out there from all walks of life. I'm telling you, that's exactly who this man is. So, Anthony, I'm going to jump right into this interview. And I always like to start with a fun icebreaker question, okay? And it's just random, something lighthearted so that we get to know you more. At the time of this interview, we're at the beginning of NFL season, football season, things of that nature. And I didn't ask you this prior, so I'm just wondering, Anthony, if you have a favorite NFL team, which team is that and why?
Oh, always the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. That's my home. That's my home team. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm born. Yes.
Yes, indeed. And
Yes.
y'all weren't playing the other week. I saw the postings.
Yeah, we smashed them Cowboys. Yeah. Cowboys.
Exactly.
Yeah, a brand new stadium at that. Yeah.
Yes.
We did what we needed to do to embarrass them.
You sure did. You sure did. And I told you offline when we first met that I love New Orleans. And it's a beautiful city in terms of just the people, the culture, everything like that. So much respect for people who are from there. And you have such a story, but before we get into that, to find out about your origins and what brings you to who you are now, this is a broad question and you can answer it any way that you want to, as briefly or as long as you like. But If a person were to ask you who is Anthony Cutno, what would you say?
I say I'm a perfect, imperfect man.
Tell us more about that. What you
That's
mean? Because you
that's
went off in the deep end. I like that. Uh-huh.
like I know I'm not perfect. I know
Mhm.
I'm not perfect. I made mistakes and all that stuff. Like, yeah, I made mistakes, lied, all that stuff, all everything. However, at the same time, I know the kind of man I am. I'm not a messed up individual. I'm not a woman beater, manipulator. Don't do anything to kids. I try and take care of my family and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know I am a good man. I am a real good man. I am
Mhm.
fully aware of that. I walk in it, I live it. However, I'm not perfect either.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
this day and age and stuff like that, all that stuff, that's why I say that.
exactly. And real talk, no one is perfect. And we are all, I think, I can speak for me. I'm just trying my best to be a light and a change in this world and to continue to grow and to learn. And so let's kind of take it back some to your early origins and just knowing that you grew up between New Orleans and also you lived in Atlanta and things like that. When you think about your upbringing and your childhood, Anthony, um, who were some of the most or one of the most significant influences in your life that shaped your mindset and your values before you even considered joining the military? Who was influential in your life?
My own dad, my dad,
How so?
he he's I consider him a perfect, imperfect man to also. He came a long way, made a lot of mistakes, lot of
Mhm.
mistakes, real bad mistakes. Growing up, living life and stuff like that. However, at the same time, even through all of that he was going through, dealing with, and everything else, he still made sure we were good.
Mm,
My mom divorced when I was young because of him, and he and I love the fact that he never kept it a secret. He always took accountabilities, this and that, basically don't do what I do, don't be like me. He always made like be better than me, this and that. Like, it took him years and years and years to like almost 50, I say, close to 50, on his 40 before he actually, clicked and,
mhm.
fully changed and this and that. But throughout all of that, no matter what he had going on, he made sure we were good.
Yeah.
Taught us well, gave us values. Everything I have now is because of him. Uh, Family oriented stuff like that. So
Mhm.
my dad, and I love the fact that he didn't hide his flaws.
Yeah.
He didn't
And
try to. He didn't even, he made it known like I'm not perfect, this and that. But however, when it came to family, kids, and learning from your mistakes and this and that. And yeah, that was him. And to this day, like
mhm.
yesterday, yesterday, it's the same way. He's still the same.
Wow. And that's actually pretty honorable in spite of things that he did. The fact that he made certain to instill values into his children to say, hey, look, I've messed up. I messed up a lot, but you don't have to go in the route that I've gone. That is definitely a really pivotal, important moment in the lives of kids because my father always would say, more things are caught than taught, meaning that children are always watching, children are always looking at us, whether it's our own children or the children around us. And so even when we were growing up, we would see things adults did And it's very easy to emulate what someone else does just off of the fact that we love them or look up to them. So the fact that your father instilled that in you is quite honorable, to say the least. And as you continue growing, you actually have a very interesting story in terms of the fact, as I called you up front, staff sergeant, which is true, but you've actually had an extensive military career, starting with the Air Force. So, share a bit about your journey from high school to joining the Air Force, and what in the world motivated you to even want to pursue a military career?
Yeah, that's a story in itself. So, I was, um, I was very violent. I was very violent. I got in a lot of fights in school and stuff. So, one of the last big fight, which they included everything in between, was back at home. So I ended up getting put out the state. So I had to leave the state, and then had to go to Atlanta with my dad. And this was the first time seeing my dad in, like, I would say, like a year or two or something like that. But
Mhm.
still talk on the phone, still had a relationship, and like we was off no issues. So I went to go live with him in Atlanta, and I ended up graduating from Stone Mountain. No, I went to Stone Mountain, and I graduated from Redan High School in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So after that, stay in Atlanta, tried to figure out what I was going to do and all that stuff like that. Ended up going back to Louisiana to live with my mom, and went right back to the streets. And then, like, I ain't have no job, I ain't have no school. I was just
Mhm.
like that. So one day because my dad was in the Air Force, and he got put out the Air Force, and my
Oh,
mom was going to follow him, but she was going to go to the Air Force Academy. But then she found out she was pregnant with me, so that scratched that. So she I think was going to the store, Walmart, something like that. And but anyway, though, we ended up at the Air Force recruiting office, and she
wow.
basically was like, "Sign the papers, or you ain't going back to my house." So I was like, "What?" She was like, "Sign the papers. You ain't going back to my house. You need to do something." La la la. Because I got a couple partial scholarships to like some real good schools, MIT, Georgia Tech,
Wow.
all those shit.
Yeah.
But I just I ain't had the right mindset. So, and then I couldn't get no other scholarships or anything. So I was like, all right, took the test, signed the papers, and boom, I'm in the Air Force. So um, finished boot camp, whatever, and I was in Shepherd. I was in Shepherd Air Force Base for school.
Mhm.
And same mindset, nobody watching me, girls everywhere. I was 21. I was 21. 'Cause I turned 21 in boot camp. Nobody watching me. Own room, free to go, come and go. So I'm
Mhm.
I'm still in that mindset. You know, people that know Shepherd Air Force, that's where like the nurses and all them go to school. So it's like
Okay.
women. So that was my mindset back then. And being late, showing up late, not really taking it serious and stuff like that. So I ain't getting no real trouble and that, just stuff like that. So I forgot what happened. It was a second school. It was the second school, and it just kept going on. So long story short, there was like failure to adapt, getting put out. So I was talking
Wow.
with told my mom, and at the time my mom was working for Homeland Security. They weren't called ICE then. I think they were just called Homeland Security then or something like that. So she was working for them, and that's what she retiring from them. And so everybody that she worked with, including her direct supervisor, and they were all Marines, all of them. They were all Marines, and He knew me as a little kid growing up and stuff like that. So I was talking with the Army because I'm like, I can't go back. I can't go back because it's another story behind that story. So
Mhm.
I was like, I can't go back, this and that. So I was gonna go be a warrant officer in the Army.
Mhm.
And so I was like, all right, cool. I told my mom, and she put me on the phone with, I think with her supervisor. I'm gonna just go with that. I can't really remember. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
say her supervisor. And he was like, nah, you're not going to the Army. You going to the Marines. I'm like, what is the Marines? I never heard of the Marine Corps with them.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
Army, I knew about the Navy. I never heard of them.
They don't
So
play in the Marines. They
I
ain't
was
playing.
like, what is the breeze? And he was like, he explained to me what it was and stuff like that's like the special forces for the military. So the way was telling me, and
Mhm.
he was like, no, he was like, no, but they got him, but no, you going to the Marine Corps, and he was like a recruiter calling you, and immediately like right after that, my phone was ringing on the back end, so. It was like I was like it was like that's them. So I clicked over. It was a Marine Corps recruiter. So talked to them, told them all of that. I was like, I knew it was a Wednesday. I'm like, I'm gonna be home on a Wednesday. I told them I was talking with the Army, and so I told them both. I said, whoever shows up, come out that door, shake my hand and stuff like that. That's where I'm going. So he was like, all right, cool. So did all the backing and stuff, talk with my mom, and found out about me and all everything like that. So I get home, and as I'm walking to the door, the Marine Corps recruiter is walking out. It was two of them,
Oh my gosh.
male and female. And I remember I was just talking, I would my memory. So came out, shook my hand, boom. That was it. I was like, what the army recruiter? The dude ain't never showed up. The dude, when I told him I was talking with the Marine Corps, he stopped talking to me and got to the house. He ain't even show up. The Marine Corps recruiter there like an hour before I got there, talking to my
Mhm.
mom and stuff like that. And this was what I got on a Wednesday. By that Tuesday, yeah, I think it was like that Monday, Tuesday. I,
Mhm.
w- I was in Paris Island.
Dang. Oh my gosh. Now, with the Marines, so I have people in my family who were in the military, and my uncle, as I have shared with you, he was in the Marine. So I know all about Paris Island, but this is my thing. You made a little inside joke with me a few weeks ago where you were saying how out of everything you had the Air Force and then the Marines. The Marines is no joke, right? And
Mm,
so the inside joke, and not to disrespect anybody in the Air Force. Okay, I'm just going to preface that because being in the military in general is not for the faint of heart. But you were saying how it was like a inside joke in terms of the fact that the easiest division was the Air Force, and you got kicked out of that. But yet, the hardest one was the Marines. This is my thing. Going back to when your mom told you up front you were going into the Air Force, did you think she was joking at first?
uh,
Like,
mm,
no, you
no,
knew she wasn't playing with you.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
wow. So now you're in the Marines, okay? But there's a key part of the Marines that we left out of this. And part of your journey that's so remarkable is the fact that you live with TBI, okay? And that the fact that in spite of having a disability, you still continue to thrive, move, shape, make ground, X, Y, and Z. Now, let's kind of take this in terms of you speaking from your unique path of being discharged from the Air Force to serving in the Marine Corps while overcoming immense physical challenges. So, let's talk about the role resilience has played in your journey And how did you not allow your so-called disabilities, how did you not allow that to keep you back from what you had to do?
To be honest, I didn't even know I had it. I didn't even know I
So
had it.
tell us about that.
So I knew. So I don't know. There you go. So I knew about the plate and all that stuff. I knew that. I knew about that, but I didn't know the severity of it. Like it I say it never really affected me. Like I had a stutter, like I had a real bad stutter, but I was never bullied, never picked on,
Yeah.
none of that stuff. So it was like it was just a part. It was just a part of me. Like honestly, got the little tease from friends and family and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But even a little nickname. But like that's what it was. Like everybody knew I stuttered. That's it. So I never had that. I never had that. As far as everything that I'm going with now, it is
Mhm.
actually going with the timeline from the neurologist.
Mhm.
But growing up, going through school and stuff like that, only issues I had was anger. I was angry all the time. When somebody said something, I was quick to go off. But other than that, I ain't had no issue. Never got bullied, never got
Mhm.
teased, was never in no special classes. They tried to put me in special ed as in elementary school, but the little test that I knocked that out the water. So was never really no. I didn't know. I just
Oh,
didn't know.
so quick question. How did you get the plate in your head?
So when I was younger, I think I was like about 3, 4, 5, somewhere up in
Mhm.
there. As a kid, at this time, my parents were still married, and the story is I was in the kitchen playing with my dad, and somehow I end up on the counter, and my mom was in there cooking, and it was in the family time in the kitchen and
Mhm.
stuff. So somehow I end up on the counter, and I jumped off.
Oh.
And when I jumped off, my dad's back was turned. And so I jumped and he tried to catch me and boom. So
Wow.
went to the hospital, of course. My head was cracked open and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They did what they did. And then I had to learn how to I had to learn how to walk right, talk, all that stuff, all that stuff back again.
Mhm.
And right before puberty. I don't remember my actual age, but right before puberty, they put the plate in. And I'm assuming because of that, I really don't know.
Yeah.
And honestly, so I never even asked.
I
Yeah, I never
got
even
you.
asked.
Yeah, because often when a person thinks of a traumatic brain injury, they'll think, okay, a car accident or a person got shot or something like that. No, it can happen from childhood accidents. A lot of kids just play, horseplay. I'm very, very feminine now, but growing up, I was a tomboy. I mean,
Mhm.
being from the South, playing outside in the trees, I jumped from a plenty of tree back in my day. And thank goodness I never got, injured like that. But something as simple as jumping off of a counter can change it. But I also like the fact that in spite of you having that, your mental cognition and awareness academically didn't really affect you in school. So you weren't having to go into specialized classes or anything like that. So, in terms of your journey with the Marines, take us to the point of you served for, I want to say 14 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 14 years, if I recall, successful in the Marine Corps, did your thing, moved all the way up to, want to say, an E6
Yeah.
staff sergeant. And then you end up going on 100% disability. Take us to what led to that.
So it was a lot of stuff going on at that time,
Okay.
but with that, I was on recruiting duty in Atlanta, in RS Atlanta, and I was recruiter at this time. I was a recruiter in Macon, and so a Master Gun. I want to say it was Master Gun Bell. I want to say it was him.
Hmm.
He had came down there to the office because at this time it was only me and one other Marine that was the only recruiters in the office.
Wow.
I was out. I was out in the schools and stuff like that. Still, recruiting, still making our numbers. And the other Marine, he was taking care of all the office duties and stuff like that. And then when he could get out of the office, he goes. So me and him both was the only recruiters for like 2, 3 months, 4 months, something like that. And so he came down there to check on us like they normally do. And he had asked about the scar, and
Hmm.
which I always get asked about. So I told him, he was like, "You ever seen a neurologist while you was in?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Wow, like I ain't have no issue." He like get headaches, asking little random questions. I was like, "Yeah, the same thing," but me in my mind think it's just regular, regular stuff, not really paying
Oh.
any attention to it.
Hmm.
And because again, I have no real effects knowingly. I'm gonna say knowingly. And so he was like, go see the neurologist. So that's an order. I took that as an order. So I went to go see the neurologist, and then boom, it was just he just went down the line, dun dun dun. Basically, literally told me my entire life and why I did certain things, this and that, like went down the line and gave me the timeline, which is that time is now. Like everything that man said started happening. And everything he said that could happen because of this, if this happened, this gonna happen. If this
Mm.
happened, this gonna happen. And it happened. Every single thing that man said. And so the reason why I never felt no effects from it is because of what I was doing.
Oh.
What I was doing was basically masking everything, and my body was naturally adapting to it. So I was having effects my entire life and just didn't know it. I'm just going
Hmm.
through like headaches, sleep, migraines, this and that. I'm just going through life. So, but he was like, because of where it's at, how it is, and this is the original plate, and it was never changed out. The plate was supposed to be changed out every 10 years.
Oh.
And this is the original plate that was put in.
Wow.
And that this plate is fused to my brain. Skull is fused to that. It now it's dented. At the time it wasn't, but now it is. And the scar, but my entire life, the scar tissue and everything else was just going in my brain, doing what it was doing. Basically, all that stuff was just going in my brain, doing
Yeah.
what it was doing. And
And question then,
mhm.
did they also say, because thinking back to when you said in your younger years you were very violent, could that have also been
That is
possibly
why. That is,
attributed to it?
yeah, that is why.
Mhm.
Because
That's
of
amazing.
it goes from here all the way to here. So
So the
this
front
is
part all the
side,
way to the back
yeah,
part of your right side.
yeah,
Okay.
and it comes out to like right here. So all this
Near the
part of
front.
the
Yeah.
bone has been
Hmm.
affected, and the domino
Hmm.
effect, and so on,
Got
so
you.
on.
Yeah. So for people who are listening and not seeing the video, Anthony pointed to the front part of his skull area on the right side all the way to the back. So it's pretty much affected just about that entire right part of your brain and skull. That is absolutely amazing. And it does make sense now as to why you would have those outbursts. So once you went to the neurologist, was it then that they said, I'm not sure how much longer you'll be able to be in the Marine or
Immediate.
what?
Nah, it was immediate. He immediately is like, no. He's like, he immediately put me on the non-deployable list.
Wow.
basically just started the process because it was
Your
like,
whole life changed that quickly.
yeah, so it was like one good fall, one good fall, one good punch, car accident. I'm either going to be a vegetable or I'm going to be forever changed,
My
or I
good.
could die. And he
Yeah.
was like, those are my choices. And then
Mm.
as I age, it's just going to get worse and worse, which has been happening. So,
Okay.
and then stress and stuff like that. And then coincidentally, at the exact same time, I'm being told that going through all of that, I'm going through a divorce at the same time.
Mm.
So going through, so my wife just out the blue, literally like out the blue, just up and up. I'm in the doctor's office being told, so I'm had to go through see all these specialists now. So I'm in the sleep doctor, and he's going
Hmm.
also my sleep apnea. And
Hey, bro,
yeah,
you can turn the air back on.
it is
Come
on.
on. It is?
Yeah.
So I feel a little warm.
And so the sleep doctor is telling the result, basically telling me stop breathing in my sleep,
Hmm.
I die in my sleep, I don't go in the REM sleep, going on down the list, this and that, and I get a call from my sister that my wife is leaving and taking my son. And out the blue, ran, and she know I'm going through all this stuff. This is literally the beginning of all of this. And so dealing with all, and that's a whole nother story in itself.
Hmm.
So dealing with all of that, and then boom. So it was an immediate thing. What it took a total maybe 3, 4 months, 5 months, and going through all the doctors, going to appointments at the same time, dealing with the divorce at the same time, and dealing with working at the same time.
Hmm.
So they took me off of recruiting duty and put me as the admin chief of the whole RS, which is my actual Marine Corps job at administration.
Wow.
Yeah. So it took me because of my rank, it took me, put me in there, which is my job, and it lined up with the dude that was leaving and stuff like that. So I did that while I was going through the whole process of getting out and the VA and divorce and stuff like that. And so that was it. Within what? This was October. It was my birthday. It was my birthday month because because that I'm going to a whole nother story. But
Wow.
yeah,
So, so how old were you when all of this happened?
34.
34, your life changes like that. So, so much of our identities are wrapped in our careers,
Mhm.
do in our passions, right? So here you had a 14-year career, not even realizing.
Promoted. I was about to get promoted to out. If it would have went on another month,
Yeah.
I'd have got promoted. I'd have got
Oh
promoted.
my gosh, you would have gotten a promotion in a month.
Yeah.
My goodness. So your life now literally changes. Tell me if you can think back then, because it's been about 7 years or so now. But
Mhm.
think back to when all of this information is coming, the life as you knew it is now gone. Talk about when you're in that first moment of being totally out of the Marines and you're coming to this new life. What happened at that moment?
So I signed. So this my divorce is tied into this.
Okay.
So I was going through a divorce at the same time.
Hmm.
So during that time, I didn't see my ex-wife or my son. I didn't know where they was for like a couple months.
Hmm.
And so she eventually called. That's a whole nother story. And
Yeah, we don't have
so
to get
the
into that.
day before I retired, the day before my retirement ceremony, I signed my divorce papers. And during the divorce papers, I got custody of my son.
Okay.
So so sign the divorce papers, boom, I'm divorced. I get custody of my son. I'm a single father. Next day, boom, I retire. I get retired. So by this time, I already know my rating. I get out at 90%.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, boom. Now I'm like, what the F am I gonna do?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? So my sister moves in with me. And so I'm still going through all these medical process at the same time.
Mhm.
So all this medical stuff, going to the doctors, finding this out, finding that out, this and that, all that stuff. Being a single dad, my son was 2, 3 at the time.
Oh, he was a baby.
Yeah, so he's
Wow.
he's 5. No, he's 9 now. So he's like
Hmm.
2, 3 at the time.
2 or 3,
And
yeah.
so, all right. Then I don't have a job. So, I still I'm literally living off of my savings,
Hmm.
my last check until maybe like the very next month I started getting my VA money. So my mind is literally I can't focus on me. I still got to handle myself medically, but I'm not focused. I'm focused on divorce, all the depression, suicidal feelings, all I'm going through all of that.
Yeah.
Crying, boohooing, why, all of that stuff. And I'm adjusting to being a civilian. And I'm adjusting to that. So it's a whole bunch of adjustments going on. So I'm like, all right, he has to go to daycare. He has to do this, and this. So I literally get into that mode, daddy mode. I'm like, all right. And I'm still dealing with the lawyers, doing the final little stuff. That is done. All right. Now it's just me and my son and loving my sister with that help me. If it wasn't for my sister, my dad, my stepmom, my siblings, that was like 10 minutes away. I wouldn't have been able to do that because I was going through
Wow.
it. That was my mindset for like it took me to get through all of that. It took me
Hmm.
about a year or so. Then my little girl came. So that's a whole nother story in itself, how that came about. But depression, suicidal thoughts, wanting the comforting, sadness is an easy target. It's an easy target.
Wow.
And so then because of all that stress and everything I was going through, it kick-started from the neurologist. Stress, if high on the stress, like and I felt it will kill me. It will cause stuff to happen. And that just sped up everything mentally.
Hmm.
Stress and all that stuff. A little thing. So yeah, it took me a while. It took me a while. So yeah, it was a lot,
Wow.
a lot of drinking, uh,
Yeah.
late nights, up at night, sleepless nights, lot. It was a lot.
That's real. Yeah. That's real and that's why I love interviewing guests because people will see our successes and see where we are now and have no idea sometimes of the stories that have gotten us there. And that sometimes people think that they're in the fight alone. But when they hear stories like you, and it's leading me to the fact that now, with you being an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker, getting out there, really sharing your story, is when you were saying how you had those suicidal thoughts. A lot of people have them. A lot of people hit rock bottom. I know what it's like to hit rock bottom and to have those thoughts. But who or what gave you the inspiration, Anthony, to keep going for one more day as opposed to just ending it all and taking your life? Take us to that moment.
My kids. He going to cry. My
All right.
kids
Mm.
don't know they saved my life. So I was going to kill myself. This was like the second, third time.
Okay.
And I told you I was living off my savings. So it was gone, wasn't working, this and that. So all that stuff and a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on. I was sitting there in my chair, and my son went to the refrigerator. And I'm sitting there, this is what I'm thinking about. He don't
Hmm.
know. This is what I'm thinking about how to do it so that my kids can still get their money, get their stuff from me.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. And he go to the refrigerator. Mind this time he was young. He was still young. But he was old enough to walk in the refrigerator, open and stuff like that. So he go in the refrigerator, he say, Daddy, I'm hungry. And so he go in the refrigerator, he said, Daddy, we don't have no food. And I ain't have no money. So I'm like, all right, I mean, think of something, make him something to eat, something. So he was like, but Daddy, we can go by Papa house and eat. Papa, Mimi always got food.
Mm.
Like, fuck. I was
Yeah.
like, I cannot kill myself and leave him in here. Or I can't kill myself. And so I was like, all right. So we go to my dad's house and we eat. And tell my dad, he give me some money, go get some groceries, and that's it.
Mm.
Another time, my little girl did. It was Father's Day.
Mm.
It was it wasn't bad, but it didn't go how Father's Day supposed to go. So it was like 11 something at night, and me and her mom, none. So it was like 11 something. I'm sitting outside smoking and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
I get a call. She called. She said, and I get a, hey, Daddy, happy Father's Day, Daddy. Da, 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 da,
Mm.
da. And that right there. So my kids,
Mm.
that's it.
Wow. That is quite amazing. And thank you for being that open about it because so many people suffer in silence and have those types of thoughts and want to do it and just don't think that anybody else understands. And that's real. And I think that what's so incredible about your story, Anthony, is that you have said that many Marines currently look up to you and find courage through your story. So this is what I wonder is what got you to the point from having suicidal thoughts, from struggling, not knowing what you were going to do next with your life, to the point where you are now, where you've created your own company, you are doing more speaking opportunities, you're building more of your brand and your business, you're writing books. How in the world did you get here?
The Marine Corps.
Mm.
So for real. So when I was recruiter, getting out, all that stuff like that, I was the admin chief for recruiting station in Atlanta.
Mhm.
Sergeant Major Clay, Sergeant Major Timothy O. Clay.
Yes.
And he came there. So me and him connected, man. He was with me. I was going through all that stuff. So he knows everything. And so kept in touch, personal level, stuff like that. That's what Marines do. So did all
Mhm.
of that. And he was writing his book. He was writing his book from here to there. That's the name of his book. He was writing his book with Dr. Oliver Reed and the writing coach.
Mhm.
So they Sergeant Major Clay, and I still call him a Sergeant Major. I know I don't have to. I still call him. That's he going forever.
Respect. Yeah. Respect.
So, so he was talking to Dr. Reed about me. I don't know how I came up or anything like that. More than likely, he had brought me up because he was telling I should write a book, blah, blah, blah. So he called me like he does. It was late at night, and he called me. And he always tried to get me call and get me not to answer the phone when he called. And I always do it, except for one time. So he called me, and he was like, "What you doing?" Da, 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 da. And he was like, thought about writing a book, this and that, writing my book, blah, blah, blah. And he put me on the phone with Dr. Reed. Basically, he was already on the phone. And it just went on from there. So talked to Dr. Reed, told him my story, boom, started writing my book. And then he did a He-Man conference, which we doing another one in Fort Lauderdale next week. And he was doing a He-Man conference in Hateville, Atlanta. And so Sergeant Major Clay called and was like, you should come to Hateville and meet me in Hateville at the He-Man conference, Dr. Rita. So I went.
Mhm.
And at that conference, that's where I met Jose Escobar,
Mhm.
who became my business mentor and all of this. Then I met Amelia Ramon,
Yeah.
who's an AMA who got me
Mhm.
into Born to Risk. Did that. Then I met Raul Marine. Um, then I met Dr. Reed. We met face to face. So I just met my core mentors in this speaking around the world. And
Yeah.
no, God bless Jose. He immediately took me under his wing, and it just went on from there. After Hateville, it just went on from there. Started writing, speaking, going to events, doing the podcast. It just went on from there. It literally.
Wow.
So when people ask how I got into this stuff, I literally say the Marine Corps got me into it. It's because of the Marine Corps.
Sure did. And it's just so astonishing how your life can change in an instant. And sometimes people make that context like anything can happen and your life can change. But what I mean is that your life can change in a good, outstanding, amazing, phenomenal way in an instant. It's not all bad. Your
Mm.
life can really change just like that. And based on your character and who you are, and just people knowing what you have to offer to the world and to others can really get you there. And, for people listening or watching this, these names he's dropped, these are with some of the people I've gotten to know, and they are incredible people in this space, incredible men, male entrepreneurs who are doing it and living it up. And the thing is this, while they have wide and broad and deep success, it's just not all about what they can get out of it. These group of people he's named are all about helping others win. They're not trying to keep it all to themselves. And so, Anthony, that's what you're even doing now, because I can say, with some of those men, they have been very influential in my life in just the last couple of months. And what I want to do is keep this focus on you. And so, with that being said, is that your story is such an example of turning pain into purpose. And say if there's a fellow Marine or just someone right now in general that is going through crisis and don't know which way to turn, don't know their own strength or power, what is something that you would recommend to somebody else going through hell and back right now that they can take to start transforming their struggles into strength and empowerment? What would you tell them to do?
I tell them to talk to me, sit
Mm.
down, and have a conversation with me. Go to my website and go to my website, divinewordsdimension.com. I have a brief, my bio that explains. It goes into my death before I was born, which is a whole nother story that we'll get that we can another time. But
Yeah.
if you go to my website, read my bio, get my free assessment. You can sit down and have a conversation, and I will bring them through my journey. And with my business now being a mindset coach, speaker, author, that's what I'm doing now, helping men and veterans get through what I went through.
Mhm.
So me, I was blessed that I didn't do it alone. I had God, had the Lord to help me through it, get me
Yep.
through it. But it took me literally forcing myself to change my mindset, the way I was thinking, the way I was looking at the world, looking at things. So I tell them I've been there. I am there. So, if they want anything, they want someone to talk to, someone to help them along, coach them along, someone to stop them from killing themselves. Because luckily for me, my kids were there. If my kids weren't there, I wouldn't be talking to you.
Mhm.
So, and then I didn't know I had people to call and talk to at the time because I was embarrassed, scared, and all that in between. So I tell them, come and talk to me, sit down with me, take my program. We can work out whatever needs to be worked out, and connect them with the He-Man community, which is a group of men helping men, because there
Yeah.
are no groups out there that help men, and that's what we're doing. And then we can sit down, talk, and move on. And I show them how I turn all my trauma and pain into success, into what I'm
That's
doing now.
right. That's
And
right. And I will put the website links on the show notes. And can people also follow you on social media?
yeah, follow me on Instagram at Anthony504_USMC. Anthony Cutno on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. That's my name. I'm out there. So Anthony Cutno,
Right.
Cutno is at the bottom right here. So
That's
that's the
right.
easy way to find me.
Yeah.
Again, website is there, is up and running. My audio books is there. They can get my audio books. Is basically taking them through everything that I've been through. Changing my understanding of my inner self, changing my understanding of my perception of the outer world. That would change my self awareness of myself. Make me, gotta push yourself.
Mhm.
What I need to change, and then my new mindset is what I'm in right now. So
Yep.
yeah, it was the Lord God and the circle
Mhm.
that got me here.
Exactly. Yeah, and I will have all of that up there. As we bring this to a close, Anthony, I couldn't help but think about that young boy that you once were, that young teenager, the young man who first entered into the military. Based on who you are now, as a 40 something year old grown man who's experienced so much in the world, if you could talk to that younger, violent version of yourself, what would you tell him?
As of right now, I'm 40 on the dot. I'm
Mhm.
41 in October. I would tell my younger self to calm the F down.
Mhm.
That's literally I would tell myself. Like I wouldn't change anything about my life except to be more calm. I was out there. Like I say, I was never teased and bullied, so people can just take that. I was out there, somebody say something, and again, I was never teased, I was never bullied. So
Mhm.
that was my mindset. I would just calm down. I tell myself, just calm down.
Damn. And the last question, when your kids are adults And when you become an old man and eventually pass away, what do you want your children to remember the most about you? What do you want your legacy for them to be?
That they are my why. I don't do this for me. I do this for them.
Yes.
And everything that they have and going to have is because of what I'm doing right now, and that they save me so that I can save them and leave them with all of this. They're going to see my writing. They're going to see my books. They're going to see all of this. And then no matter what they mama say, they're going to know that how they daddy really was.
Thank you so much, Anthony. This has been absolutely incredible. It's an honor to know you and to be acquainted with you in this circle. And I just thank you sincerely for taking time to be a guest on the Power Transformation Podcast. The world needs to hear your message. So continue doing what you do. And just know how incredibly blessed I have been just to have this conversation with you. Thank you again.
No problem. It's all good. It's why it's all good.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Power Transformation Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow or subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and write a review. It helps us inspire even more listeners. And don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who could use a little power in their transformation. Until next time, keep bouncing back, keep rising, and be good to yourself and to others.